Good afternoon. Now let's look at the last lecture in proposed writing, which is lecture 9. Now today we want to look at the project financial appraisal methods. Now what are these methods that are used to appraise a project? These are the methods that normally we use to assess if at all the project is viable or is not viable. Is it worth investing or is not? So there are so many appraisal methods that we can use for a project, but in this lecture we will discuss these two appraisal methods, which are net present value and also the payback period. Now let us begin with the net present value, properly known as NPV. So NPV is a difference between the present value of cash inflow and the present value of cash outflow over a period of time. That's what you call net present value. So the difference that is there between the present value of cash and also the present value of cash as it goes out. So NPV is used in capital budgeting to analyze the profitability of a projected investment, or simply put, a project. So mathematically speaking, you can say NPV is a sum of the present value, which is PV. Okay, as you can see from here, PV is equal to cash flow over 1 plus discount value of 100 times time. So if you look at the variables that are used in this expression, like DV basically is just a discount value, discount rate, and T is a current year of cash flow. So as we look at this mathematical equation of NPV, we'll understand that when we're doing the appraisal for the project, the PV and the net present value is very, very essential for us to know if at all we can invest in this project or not. So now how to calculate the NPV? Let's look at this times through here. Okay, but these ones below here represents time, and these are the amounts, okay, for each individual year. So now NPV, as we have already alluded to, is a sum of present values of individual items over a period of time. So as you can see, for us to calculate the NPV of this project, which are about to invest in, we need to calculate the individual PVs, present value, for each amount that you are seeing here. Then once we know the individual amounts, okay, then we add all these amounts, and the answer is what we call NPV. Remember the formula of NPV, we look at the cash flow over, okay, 1 plus discount rate times time, to the power time, as you can see. So in our case, the discount rate is 9% as we calculate the NPV for this. All right? So find that using 9%, which is basically, if you divide 9% by 100, you get 0.09. Okay? So once you add this to 1 and then to the power time, so in this case, this is 1 for the first item, and then this is year 2, as you can see, then this is year 3, and then this is year 4. So once you compute this on the calculator, and then you come up with individual values, as you can see from there. Then once you add them, then you come up with this figure, 1043.33, which is our net present value. So compute present values of which net cash flows, as you can see. Multiply the net cash flows for each period by its discount factor to obtain its present value. Sum the present values of each cash flow to calculate the NPV. That's what we have seen here. So for each value, or for each amount, we'll do the PV. Then eventually, we will going to have the sum of all these PVs to get the net present So NPV is used in capital budgeting to analyze the profitability of the project and investment in the project. So a positive net present value indicates that the projected earnings generated by a project investment, okay, exceeds the anticipated cost. Okay. So a positive net present value indicates that the projected earnings generated by the project exceeds the anticipated cost. So if you get into negative or closer to zero, then you are actually not getting any benefits, okay, if you compare it to the baseline amount. So generally, an investment with a positive NPV will be profitable. And an investment with a negative NPV will mean a loss. So we must endeavor all the time. We want to know if we can invest in this particular project, you must be able to check the sign of NPV. Is it positive? If it's positive, then you're going to have a profit. If it's a negative, you're going to encounter a loss. So this concept is the basis for a net present value rule, which dictates that only investments that should be made are those with positive values. So this point you must be able to remember it. If you're going to have a negative NPV, sorry to say that project should not be embarked on because it's a loss. Okay? All losses should be avoided if you want to thrive in this business of actually project management. Okay? Now, what about the payback period? Payback period. So the payback period is the length of time required to recover the cost of investment. So the payback period of a given investment or project is an important determinant of whether to undertake a project or not. As long as longer payback periods are typically not desirable for investment periods. So what you're saying with payback period is opposite. If you're going to have a bigger number for payback period, that project is not viable. You must endeavor having a shorter payback period when that project can invest in. But for the net present value, it must be bigger value and positive value. Otherwise, these two concepts, they can be said that two opposite in terms of their principles. Okay, a positive NPV is good, but a bigger payback period is not good. Because you want to have a short-term time lag. For example, let's look at this example. The following are the cash inflows from the brother and the sister from the sum of 10,000 kwacha. So imagine that you want to invest this money in either a sister or a brother, and they are promising that they will repay that amount in 4 years. And this is how they are going to pay. The sister will give 1,000 first installment, second 3,000, third installment 4,000, and the final installment will be 5,000. The brother promises that you start with the 4,000, another 4,000, then 2,000, then 2,000. This is how they are going to pay back the money that you're going to invest in. So the question is, who are you going to give this amount? Okay, are you going to invest this amount in your sister or a brother, looking at the way they are actually dispensing the money to you? You cannot guess. For us to understand this, we have to compute the payback period for these two symbols. So let's look at how we can actually do the payback period. So assuming that the money invested is 10,000 and the following are the cash inflows and cumulative cash inflows. As you can see from the previous diagram, this is what you have. So you need to add another column called cumulative cash flow. Cumulative cash flow. So you add these. For example, 1,000 comes in, and you keep on adding 1,000 plus 3,000, that is 4,000. 4,000 plus 4,000 is 8,000. 8,000 plus 5,000, it is 13,000. So now, as you can see from the cumulative cash flow, when can you get your 10,000 back? As you can see, you are going to get your 10,000 back in between 8,000 and 13,000. This is where you're going to get your 10,000 back. So now, what is the period? So you count from the beginning. So it's 1, 2, 3. So you write 3 here. But remember, you don't have the exact 10,000 here. So you're in between 8 and 13. So it's a fraction. So how do you know this proper fraction? So you have to put 10,000 somewhere where we don't know exactly, which is this one. Then do the difference. 10,000 minus 8,000, you get 2,000. It's one that you put on top. Then from 13,000 to 8,000, what's the difference? Is 5,000. That's what you put below here. So if you do your computation, you get this amount in 3 years to over 5 years. This is the payback period for 10,000 of a sister. Okay? You know, a sister is the one that has these investments. So the sister will pay back this amount in 3 years to over 5 years. Now, what about a brother? What about a brother? Okay. Before we look at that, let's look at some points there. So the payback period is the length of time required to recover the cost of investment. So the payback period of a given investment or project is an important determinant of whether a project or what investment can be invested in or not. So you accept the project only if the payback period is less than the target payback period. Right. So what are the advantages and the disadvantages of payback period? Advantages of payback period are, payback period is very simple to calculate, as you can see from the way we calculate from the system. It can be measured, it can be a measure of risk inherent in a project. Since cash flow that occur later in a project life are considered more uncertain, payback period provide an indication of how certain the project cash flow are. So if you want to be very sure that I can invest in this project, you need to actually do your payback period very well. So for companies facing liquidity problems, it provides a good ranking of projects that will return money early. So if the company is about to close, or about to liquidate a company, you need to actually do the payback period for all these investments so that you can tell when you can get your money in. So advantages of payback. Payback period does not take into account time value of money, which is the serious drawback since it can lead to wrong decisions. So the time value of money is not considered in the payback period. What it is only considered is just the duration of paying back the capital. It does not take into account the cash flow that occur after the payback period. Okay, for example, a company C is planning to undertake another project required in initial investment of 50 million and expected to generate 10 million in 1 year, 30 million in second year, 16 million in third year, 19 million in fourth year, 22 million in fifth year. Calculate the payback period of this project. So as you can see, this project will span over 5 years, and these are the cash flows that will be coming in dollars. So for you to calculate the payback period, you must add a column here called cumulative cash flow. We are going to be adding all these and able to tell where, okay, when are you going to have 50 million coming back. Then from there, you count the years. And if there will be any fractions that will be there, that is going to help you to know when precisely you can have the 50 million back in your account. So I'd like you to practice this. Try this one so that you can actually know how to find the payback period. And also you can also try to practice how to do the net present value for this type of investment. So as we end this lecture on these two project financial appraisal methods, I'd like you to do a test. So the next slide, okay, is a slide for the test. So we'll go there. Now the slides that follows will actually give you what we call an open book test, which is based on watching lecture 7 to 8. Once you watch lecture 7 to 8, you attempt the test on the other slide, on the next slide. Then once you finish answering the questions, you will submit your answers using this email, and the due date is Tuesday. Okay, next week Tuesday. So this test, for you to answer it very well, please, I encourage you to take your time. Watch lecture 7 fully, as much as possible, so that you understand the principle. Watch lecture 8 and also watch lecture 9. In this way, you will be able to answer this test without difficulties. So this is question 1, where you needed to study this scenario and answer these questions. So you have to answer the 2 questions. There are 2 questions. The first question says, study the following situation and answer the following questions. Currently, Zambia has a lot of problems regarding the software development and information system security. Many of the times when people are reported for buying software products from outside the country, which has proved to be very costly for many institutions in Zambia. Furthermore, many are the times also when people are reported of losing the information in the hands of intruders. This has contributed in the underutilization of ICTs, more especially in the areas of business, commerce, training, research, communication, e-banking, and the like. So after this scenario, you must be able to answer these questions below. Come up with an appropriate project title for the above situation. Write the problem brief of the given situation. Write the research questions and objectives of the above situation. Create an action plan and a simple budget of the given situation. Prepare a 4x4 logical framework matrix based on the situation given above. Question 2, just 3 continues. Study the table below and answer the following questions. So these are 2 different projects with different cash flows, and this is done over a period of 4 years. And the capital for each of these projects, project A is 35,000, project B is also 35,000. These are the cash inflows for the next 4 years. Now the question is, calculate the payback period for the projects given above and the projects to implement. Give reasons for your answer. And B, calculate the net present value for the project given above, given the discount factor DF of 10%, and decide which project to invest in. Give reasons for the answer. So people, I want you to take your time, watch the lecture that I've posted, and then you must be able to do this test. So this test will only span from today up to next week, Tuesday. I'll need the answers via this email that you can see there on Tuesday. 17 hours is the deadline. So please enjoy the videos and all the best in the test.